Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Welcome everyone to Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. This is Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, and we're so happy to have you here with us this evening. My name is Ginny Sanders. I'll be your co-host for the next 2 hours along with the very beautiful Dr. Carolyn Dean. And you know, she is beautiful, and she's also incredibly smart, experienced, talented, joyful. I mean, she's just she's a maniac, you guys. I just have to tell you, she is taking over the globe. She is not just committed to making sure everybody has the best formulas, but now she's committed to making sure everybody has the best food. There's no stopping her. There's no stopping her, but I digress and I get way ahead of myself. Most of you have tuned in this evening to hear Dr. Dean talk about the thing that she loves the most, which is the magnesium miracle, actually the miracle of nutrition, the miracle of diet, the miracle of exercise, the miracle of sunshine, all these things that we've forgotten and forsaken in our technically complex and modern world. But she has not changed, nor has she wavered or varied from her own personal thesis that we are biologically designed to be in congress with the nature, that we are intelligently designed, and that the body has exactly what it needs and knows what to do when you give it the basic building blocks. And that's what she's here to talk about today, the basic building blocks of things, again, like magnesium and the other formulas we're going to talk about this evening. She's here to talk about you and what's important to you, what you care about, what makes your heart light up, and the concerns that you have about health, vitality, and well-being in these crazy, zany days. And she's also here to talk about your family members and your neighbors and those that you also love and cherish that are around you that may require support for their health as well. We're going to talk to you live over the phone. The number for the call-in line is here at the station. It's on our YouTube channel. It's in our emails. It's easy to find. I'll tell you about it a little bit later. We're also going to talk to you through our chat line on our live YouTube channel, and also the chat line here at the radio station, Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. And we're going to talk to you through emails. And you know what? We're going to talk to you through our hearts, because it truly is our passion to do this work, this radio broadcast, which Dr. Dean has been giving out her personal take, her opinion for the last 10 years on radio consistently every Monday night for 2 hours, making herself available to the public to make sure that you have her ideas about what's important for your health, vitality, and well-being. So without further ado, I will bring her on. I will say this is not a medical advice show, but this is definitely a Dr. Dean advice show. And she is a medical doctor, but she's got all kinds of wisdom. It's not just limited to medicine. It's so amazing what she can talk about. So we're going to have a great time tonight. We're going to talk to you about all kinds of things. We hope you really enjoy it and you get a lot out from it. Gosh, my tongue is all twisted up tonight, Carolyn. I don't know what's going on. My words are not coming out properly. It's very, very strange, but I know who's right on track with the program tonight, and that's the children. So without further ado, I say welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Yay. Hello, children. Yes, Ginny, let's give people a lesson in reading the dictionary. Ginny did say in Congress, she did.
I did.
And Congress is the action of coming together, yes. And it's usually referring to sexual congress.
Oh.
But that's fine. That's just fine because that's how we all got here, right? Through sexual congress.
Oh, that's funny.
So we will just acknowledge that in case the chat line blows up.
That's funny. That's funny. Oh my gosh, that's
Okay.
awesome. Okay,
Okay.
thank
So
you.
yeah, as they say all the time, without further ado, that was a nice big ado. That let's go to housekeeping. I think I've missed housekeeping for weeks. We have a subscription service so you can automatically order on your monthly shipments. We want you to keep referring your practitioners. We have thousands and thousands of them. We want you to use referral candy for the 15% discount. We want you to get your blood testing done with the home blood test kit. If you've got the first test done, you have to do the second one. I have to do my third one with Bob soon. I keep forgetting. It's easy to forget. Our magnesium deficiency survey is up to about 450,000. I mean, I can't believe we're near 500,000. And now we have a thyroid survey on the go, which is, I'll tell you about it next week, probably, what we're finding out with people who have thyroid symptoms. And yes, with the magnesium deficiency questionnaire, it's up to 70% of people with insomnia, 60 with muscle cramps, and 50% with palpitations, 55% with restless legs, about 40% with headaches. So it's a serious situation, this magnesium deficiency, and what I'm finding out more and more is that the younger doctors, they're so far away from
Mm,
learning about nutrients
mm,
that it is getting even worse. It's
mm,
getting even scarier because they spend all their time trying to learn about these new biological medications and all the side effects, and it's just out of this world how complex it's gotten. And one of the things I wanted to sidebar on today before I go to today's blog is about Alzheimer's. I came across this article. It was in Medscape. I usually get my best dirt there. And the title of this article, FDA Leader Explains the Rationale Leading to Controversial Alzheimer's Drug Approval. So apparently there's a new drug out, and seriously, I cannot even pronounce the name of it. They've used all the names in the world on these drugs because they've got so many. It's like aducanumab, and it's um, it's got some brand names which are even harder to pronounce. So anyway, there was, quote, fierce public debate and, quote, immediate backlash that erupted immediately following the drug's approval. So apparently back in November 2020, the FDA's Peripheral and Central Nervous System Drugs Advisory Committee, they have to have a whole committee for a certain type of drug because there's so many drugs. They voted nearly unanimously against approval of this drug because of lack of evidence proving its efficacy. It didn't work. But the FDA, in its Miss Wisdom, I put in the Miss Wisdom, they approved it anyway. After
mm,
which 3 of the advisory committee members resigned in protest. So at least they had the balls to do that. So, in addition, the high profile consumer advocacy group, Public Citizen, and you should look those Public Citizen up. They follow drugs and give a lot of good reports on what to avoid. So the Public Citizen sent a letter to the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services demanding the removal of 3 FDA officials, including the acting FDA Commissioner, Janet Woodcock, MD. In its letter, Public Citizen noted that the FDA's decision, quote, showed a stunning disregard for science, eviscerated the agency's standards for approving new drugs, and ranks as one of the most irresponsible and egregious decisions in the history of the agency. Now, that's pretty pretty startling. I didn't see any headlines about this. The Alzheimer's Association, which had supported the drug throughout its development process and applauded its approval, expressed outrage over its more than $56,000 a year cost to patients and called the price simply unacceptable. Part of the article, or maybe I then started looking around, and a retired neurologist who's documenting his gradual decline with Alzheimer's disease was in the clinical trial that was done before approval. He suffered severe side effects. Even so, he's on the fence about recommending the drug and think it has its benefits. He said the drug has too broad a label recommendation for the whole Alzheimer's population, instead of the patients with early symptoms on whom the study was conducted. So they only tested it on patients with early symptoms of the disease, yet they said, oh yeah, everybody can use it. So we have no idea what the risks and benefits for patients in later stages of Alzheimer will be. The most common side effects include a type of brain swelling and or bleeding that usually does not cause symptoms until it's too late. The side effects can be detected by MRI scans. The end point of the study on the drug were reduction of the amyloid plaques. They're a buildup of protein plaques in the brain, which are thought to be the cause of Alzheimer's. So they don't know if it's a cause, but the drug is to treat a possible manifestation of the cause, these plaques. Quote, it is expected that the reduction in, it's expected, we don't know, we assume, but we know what happens to people who assume. It is expected that the reduction in amyloid plaque will result in a reduction in clinical decline. So that's, yeah, as I said, a huge assumption to make when we aren't even sure the amyloid plaque is the cause of Alzheimer's. So what I've just stated shows the desperation of allopathic medicine to find a drug to treat Alzheimer's. What do I think? When you search amyloid and calcium on the internet, you find statements like this, quote, sticky clumps of protein called amyloid usually get the blame for causing Alzheimer's disease, but the real culprit may be calcium, according to a pair of studies published in the research journals Cell and Neuron, two different journals. These 2008 papers said that in order to stay healthy, brain cells need to maintain just the right amount of calcium at any given moment, and that depends on the cells responding to signals from elsewhere in the brain. So, what keeps calcium in just the right amount in cells? Let's hear the chorus of magnesium. That's what. So, this elsewhere in the brain, something that gives the signal is magnesium. Of course, they don't know that. They don't say that. Studies in 2018, a review stated that given that calcium distribution is ubiquitously involved in all Alzheimer's pathologies, it is likely that using chemical agents or small molecules specific to calcium channels or handling proteins on the plasma membrane and membranes of intracellular organelles to correct neuronal calcium dysregulation could open up a new approach to Alzheimer's disease prevention and treatment. Again, dancing completely off the stage and missing the fact that magnesium is what balances calcium. In 2021, a couple of other papers. One is titled Elevating the Levels of Calcium Ions Exacerbate Alzheimer's Disease. Another one, Mitochondrial Calcium Signaling in Health, Disease, and Therapy. So what do they do in medicine for calcium? Calcium channel blockers. and you've heard of them in heart disease. And I've always said, calcium channel blocker. Well, magnesium is a natural calcium channel blocker. Let's use that. So I found one paper that was called Why Calcium Channel Blockers Could Be an Elite Choice in the Treatment of Alzheimer's Disease, a comprehensive review of evidences. The abstract stated that calcium channel blockers are expected to offer neuroprotection and additionally demonstrate anti-amyloid, anti-phospholipase, antiplatelet, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory activity, a solitary solution to all the subcellular physiologic complications that are observed in Alzheimer's disease. Yeah, it's all just scientific speak just to make them feel like they're special and they know something, but they don't. Okay, so all that may be true. When you block calcium, you can get those beneficial effects. But what they don't say is you get those effects because without the excess calcium, then magnesium has a chance to work. But if you take magnesium, then perhaps you can get even better results. So the way calcium and magnesium kind of block each other, when your calcium is high, then it pushes down your magnesium. Give you a drug, they cut off your calcium, and if you have enough magnesium in your body, it has a chance to work. But far better to not take the drug and take your magnesium. I mean, it's just, I guess to me and anybody who's read anything about magnesium, that it's a much more common sense approach. But of course, magnesium does not have a patent and is not going to make a drug company billions of dollars. And of course, calcium channel blockers have their own long list of side effects. So if you want to know more about the Alzheimer magnesium connection, you can find that in chapter 15 of my Magnesium Miracle book. I mean, I could read through this, but it's probably enough information already, about Alzheimer's. And I do talk about Parkinson's as well. They've got all kinds of ideas about it. I mean, we know there can be alcoholism that's causing symptoms of Alzheimer's, vitamin B12 deficiency, vitamin mineral deficiencies, mercury and amalgam poisoning, hypothyroidism, prescription drug use, malnutrition, dehydration. There's potentially a lot going on that people with a good lifestyle and a good diet can overcome. And then if you take your minerals, you start detoxifying heavy metals, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll leave it at that. I mean, if you can't get the book, you could ask customer service at support@rnareset.com if they could give you the excerpt of the chapter 15, because it's very important. I mean, how many people do you know who are suffering dementia and, going through all this testing to see if they have Alzheimer's with absolutely no real hope of being given a drug that's going to cure their problem. So let me stop here and ask Ginny if she has anything to add to my Alzheimer's sidebar.
Oh, wow. It's great information, Carolyn, for anyone who's in that situation, or of course, a lot of people who have parents or loved ones. I mean, that's just incredible.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, to look at calcium as a problem and try to get rid of calcium and them not even knowing about magnesium. And I know you've brought up many times our, 2019 trip to the NIH, where they had a magnesium conference, and our team that we're doing research with, their focus used to be calcium, or probably still is. And they were amazed to find out the importance of magnesium in relation to calcium. They study these little tiny areas, and they don't do anything about putting it all together, which is what we spend day in and day out doing. I mean, what do I say all the time? The scientist rigorously defends his or her right to be ignorant of most everything except their own specialty. And that gets us into so many problems. And I've taken to calling most doctors medical illiterates. Now, Ginny doesn't like that because she works with the medical and health professional to get them interested in using our products. So I'm not allowed to call them illiterates, but there's a certain percentage that are. So anyway, to move on. So our blog today is pretty straightforward. Testing for and fixing magnesium deficiency. So you've received this in your email, or it's at our archive books and webinars and online site, drcarolyndean.live.com. The first page will have the blog, and it's basically talking about kind of reinforcing what we say all the time. Magnesium playing such important roles in the structure and function of the body. The adult human body contains 25 grams of magnesium. So that's 4, 6, 20, 6 teaspoons of magnesium. Over 60% of all the magnesium in the body is found in the skeleton, 27% in muscles, 6 to 7% in other cells, and less than 1% outside the cells and in the bloodstream. So here's the problem with testing. Is if you're just testing the bloodstream, you're only testing 1% of the total amount of magnesium, and you're not going to get a good reading. So this is the problem when people say, well, how do I know how much I need? And this is why we have a dozen people in customer service, so we can discuss with people the list of symptoms that they may have that indicate magnesium deficiency. I'm right now looking up my blog. I think it's called Gauging Magnesium Deficiency. And you can type that in and then put my name and come up with a blog where I list 100 different ways that you can be magnesium deficient. And that's important, very important to know, because you don't realize that fibromyalgia is related to magnesium deficiency, or depression, or confusion. I'm just sort of whipping through this list. So there are ways to look at your own symptoms and just be more aware of your body as being magnesium deficient. So why does the body require so much magnesium? It not only produces necessary enzymes, or is a cofactor in 1,000 different enzyme processes in the body. It works at the mitochondrial level to make ATP, which is the energy molecule. It's necessary for protein synthesis in the ribosomes, activates amino acids, on and on. It stabilizes RNA and DNA. And I think the ATP is the most important, because I think people, when they start taking REMAG, they start feeling more energetic. And that's because 6 of the 8 steps in making ATP in the mitochondrial Krebs cycle, 6 steps require magnesium. Okay, so we know it's critical. I have been recommending RBC magnesium blood test. We are doing university research to find correlations with the ionized magnesium blood test to try to, sway the magnesium research industry away from the serum magnesium test, which only measures that 1%. So it's a big hill to climb, but, somebody's got to do it. So, as I said, reading the signs of your magnesium deficiency is probably the best way. I mean, we're looking at tics, muscle spasms, cramps, seizures, anxiety, irregular heart rhythms, being the classic signs. And, low magnesium intake can include migraine, headaches, insomnia, depression, chronic fatigue, which are, the chronic conditions that most people, when they approach us, they can't believe that their serious migraine headaches, insomnia, depression, and chronic fatigue can be related to a simple mineral. Okay. And in terms of how we got to this magnesium deficiency, the phosphates in dark colored sodas, um, phosphate in soda pop gives that sort of biting, effervescent kind of irritation on your mucous membranes. Well, phosphates bind up magnesium, rendering it unavailable. So does the chlorine in the water, the fluorides in all your dental products. So all these things are going to take away your magnesium. And aging is another big factor in magnesium deficiency. With aging, there's more stress, more need for magnesium. They talk about, poor absorption of nutrients. Now, one major benefit that we have with REMAG is that it's fully absorbed from the mouth right till it's totally absorbed, which may just be in the upper intestines. It's so tiny, the picometer size. It's a stabilized ion, so it goes right into the cells, and that's why it rarely reaches the large intestine to cause the laxative effect. Now, people on the call, people who call customer service, they may have the laxative effect and have to be educated on how to sip their magnesium liquid in sea salted water throughout the day, not to take it all at once to overload the cells. People may be detoxing and getting the laxative effect, etc. So there are many ways that people can enhance their experience with magnesium. And the questions that we have today, the blog questions, will cover many of these aspects. But again, I'm going to stop and see if I should add anything here. Ask Ginny what she thinks.
Great job. You're doing great. And I think we're all right on track.
Okay, look at that cheerleader.
Yay!
Yeah, my good buddy, Dave Neufeld, who does the introduction, and also he does the original music for our show. Dave Neufeld, the music producer, he calls Ginny my good buddy in the introduction. I think that's very sweet. So, question 1. If I have no kidney issues as per my blood test, can I overdose on magnesium? Now, of course, this whole kidney business drives us kind of crazy because somehow doctors have led everybody to believe that if you have, quote, kidney problems, then you can't take magnesium. But that's a real overblown kind of myth. So if you, quote, have kidney problems, get my book, The Magnesium Miracle, and read the kidney chapter, or call customer service and ask for that excerpt, so you understand that every tissue in the body, every cell in the body requires magnesium. And if you withhold it to, quote, protect your kidneys, then you're doing yourself probably more damage. So it's important to learn about this kidney situation. I think it could be said that people on dialysis, because they don't clear things through their kidneys anymore, can build up magnesium. But again, we've proven with case reports. In fact, in the Magnesium Miracle, one of the case reports is from a health practitioner who had kidney damage and disease to the point that she's on dialysis, and she proved by doing a magnesium test before dialysis and after dialysis. She showed that during her dialysis, her magnesium levels became even lower than the low they are in kidney patients because they keep them away from magnesium. And she said, she's sitting in the dialysis room and everybody's twitching, their blood pressure's going up. They have all the symptoms of magnesium deficiency. And even our friend, good grief, what's his last name? Jason Chung. Is it Chung, Ginny? He's writing books on diabetes and weight management and keto diet. He told me in person when I met with him that Fung, Fung, that he's a nephrologist, he's a kidney doctor, and he says he gives his patients IV magnesium during their kidney dialysis. And I said, well, where's the paper on it? And he says he can't write a paper on it because he'd be laughed out of nephrology, because everybody, all medical people believe that you can't take magnesium if you have kidney disease. So there's another, terrible situation with the ignorance of doctors about nutrients. So this person, Jesse, is saying, can I overdose? 70 years old, 20 months ago, after 6 months of diarrhea and stress, I had at least one episode of AFib followed by heart pause of 10 seconds. Instead of rushing to put in a pacemaker, as two specialists pushed me to do, we considered the whole picture and started taking your liquid magnesium, Remag, and doing a few other things. My heart rhythms have gone back to normal, and I have no more uneasiness or AFib symptoms. Thank you for all your writing and education. It helped a lot. Wow. I hadn't read this before. I didn't have a moment, but look at this. So what happened to Jesse? 6+ months of diarrhea and stress. Your diarrhea, you're going to you're losing minerals. You're losing magnesium. And then, yes, you can get AFib. She researched, I guess she realized she'd lost her electrolytes, so that's why her heart would be affected. The doctor said, oh, we have to put a pacemaker in. They did not look at the whole picture, and she did. She found Remag, and boom, there we go. That's awesome. Now, I mean, that takes some courage for someone to, be their own doctor. I'm not saying everybody should do that, but she obviously went to the hospital. They gave her their diagnosis and recommendations, and she chose something else. Very interesting. Carlos is saying, I'm dealing with the problem of low magnesium even after taking 400 milligrams of it twice a day. So I don't know anything more about this person, age, or I assume this is not Remag. When someone says 400 milligrams, our dosing is 300 milligrams per teaspoon. So I would just invite Carlos to try Remag, and also to call our customer service to see what else could be missing, and what the symptoms of low magnesium are. And of course, Jessie, with her heart symptoms, I'd be recommending pico potassium. Carlos as well, pico potassium. And the next one, Mei Lee is saying, I have fibromyalgia. I have tried to take magnesium, but it gives me diarrhea. How do I ask for a test from a doctor to test my levels? So we talked a bit about the testing. Um, Actually, this is Bessie. I'd go by symptoms, and what you say with Remag is you have an opportunity to take something that should not cause a laxative effect. You can even start with a couple of drops in water coming as a liquid. It's easy to downsize rather than having to swallow a whole pill where you're stuck with the effects. I mean, that's what happened to me. I couldn't take any pills or tablets, capsules of magnesium because they gave me the laxative effect. So Bessie can call our customer service and ask more questions, but the Remag does overcome for most people the laxative effect. So this is Maylee's questions. A few months ago, I started to have a high heart rate. It would go up randomly from 140 to 80 to 140 to 180 beats per, well, would it be beats per minute? Yes, once a week or sometimes once a day. My doctor put me on a beta blocker, which has helped some, but it doesn't always keep it down. A couple of weeks ago, I started to develop what feels like shortness of breath and tightness in my chest, not a bronchospasm. These feel like pulmonary artery spasms that last a few seconds to a minute. My doctor wants me to start a calcium channel blocker. Last week, I got my RBC test. It was 4.5. Wondering if you think these are magnesium deficiency symptoms, and will magnesium likely help me? Thank you. Can't give you a medical diagnosis, but certainly we've had people with high heart rates. Actually, that's the way I start the heart health book. It's often people who, they'll have some anxiety, some high heart rates, and then it seems to, escalate to rhythm disturbances and the tightness in the chest. Hard to say, that can be spasming of the arteries or even the tissue of the heart. The heart muscle tissue can go in spasm from magnesium deficiency. And RBC test of 4.5. What's the range? 4.2 to 6.8, I think. So it is definitely on the low side. I'd personally be taking Remag and then keeping track. Heaven forbid you have these symptoms, and if you start to feel worse, you go to your doctor. You keep in touch with the allopathic community. This one is to you, Ginny, but I know you're busy multitasking, so I'll take it. Jeff says, I look forward to listening to the show. I remember hearing the doctor say one time that in the beginning, she actually had to take many tablespoons. I am now taking a half teaspoon twice a day, as the bottle indicates. It's been 6 months. I'm 6 foot and 230 pounds. How do I know when I can start increasing the amount I take each day? I'm pretty muscular, he says, 58 years old. Well, this is where Ginny and I and our staff had a conversation today about how in each mailing of our formulas, we'll put how to take the products with, the water guidelines and then the dosing and everything. On the label, we have to put what the FDA requires. So the FDA does not like us telling people to take more than the RDA of magnesium. So we have to keep it at half a teaspoon twice a day. But if you read any of our material, and as Jeff remembered, I was up to 4 teaspoons a day, not tablespoons. And, sometimes people need up to 4. We don't have many people at all taking 5 teaspoons. The usual dose is 2 to 3 teaspoons. And if there are heart symptoms, or actually, many symptoms of magnesium deficiency are the same symptoms as potassium deficiency. So sometimes you need less Remag when you're taking your pico potassium. So I would tell Jeff, yes, go ahead, take the Remag and increase it to with his weight and size, I would think 3 teaspoons at least. Um, Ellen is saying, I have, what was it? I've had cramping in my toes and fingers, but doesn't feel the same as a muscle cramp. No, it doesn't. It's a different type of cramping. I know that cramping. Can this be an indicator of magnesium deficiency? Yes, it can. My doctor sent me for nerve conduction studies, multiple MRIs, and everything came out normal. My thought is possibly my body's deficient in something. How much magnesium is safe to take each day? Well, the beauty of magnesium is it's extremely safe. If I take too much Remag, and now I'm only taking a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half because I'm saturated. But if I take 2 teaspoons, I get the laxative effect because my body doesn't need that much anymore. So you're guided by that, but it took me a year and a half to get there. If you're getting it in the beginning of taking your Remag, then you're not taking it properly. So, yes, instead of all these expensive tests, the doctor should have told you to take magnesium. But then, the best magnesium, of course, is ours because it doesn't cause a laxative effect. If doctors know anything about magnesium, they probably don't tell people to take it because they think it's a laxative. And, that's where the whole education that we're doing, with our research projects and everything, because doctors supposedly will listen to us more when we do the research that proves what we're saying. So, Ginny, I will stop there and see what you have to say, and then maybe we can go to chat and phones.
It is a weird dynamic when you think about it. I know you say it all the time that doctors don't want to recommend Remag because they think it's a magnesium. But, that's really what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been taught through milk of magnesia or some other situation that if you want a patient that's constipated to get relief, to give them magnesium, and they have no idea what its power and potential is to be used as a nutrient, like we use vitamin D. Everybody's very aware of vitamin D now. And they even were before because of breast cancer and prostate cancer and all these other things, and vitamin D's role in the immune system. I mean, the medical community has embraced vitamin D, but unfortunately, probably or maybe vitamin D never did have the black eye of thinking everybody thought it was a laxative, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's great for breast cancer, and everybody's on board. I mean, magnesium's just gotten a bad rap from the beginning because of its the way it was misbranded.
Right, there was no clear blood test for it because when you sample the blood, which is in the bloodstream, there's only 1% of the total body's magnesium. That sample usually looks the same all the time. It looks normal. And that's because the body tries really hard to keep it in a certain range that will keep your heart beating properly. The body, no, the body's so smart. And we like to think we're smarter than the body. That's why instead of, trusting your own intuition or your trusting even your own immune system, we think we can do better. And in terms of vitamin D prescribing, look what they did when doctors heard that vitamin D was so important. They started giving wacko high doses.
Yeah.
They were giving 50,000 units, whereas the RDA, for most of my lifetime was 400 international units. All of a sudden, oh, it's good for you. Let's give 50,000 as if that was a good idea. And what happened there, it immediately actually educated me because our customers, and I think at that time I was still doing telephone consultations, they'd say, oh my gosh, I started taking vitamin D, and all of a sudden, my magnesium deficiency symptoms came back. And maybe they wouldn't even know their vitamin D, but when I questioned and said, "What's new? What are you taking?" And it was long before I realized, oh my gosh, the magnesium is necessary for 7 or 8 steps of processing inactive, sunshine or supplement or food-based vitamin D into active vitamin D. So if you give yourself 50,000 units, use up all the magnesium in your body. And then you have magnesium deficiency symptoms. So, and that led to, a lot of controversy about vitamin D. Well, some people feel better, some people don't. And it was another complex situation where doctors just express themselves as being medically illiterate.
You
They
know,
would not read about these correlations. It's as if they're allergic to the words vitamins and minerals. They think it's, you know, poo poo or something. Oh, you get everything you need in your food. Well, no, you don't. So we're dealing with a whole generation of people who've been who are starving for nutrients.
yep, yep. Yes, and another thing that happened with vitamin D is that they made it a 50,000 IUs once a week instead of daily dosing, and vitamin D is metabolized
Uh,
on a daily basis. So that was another
uh,
fly in the
mhm,
ointment and another reason that it wasn't as successful as it could have been. There are a lot of
mm,
problems, there's no doubt about it, but there are good people who want to know the truth and want to be effective, and those are the customers that we talk with. I mean, we have great customers,
mhm,
doctors and practitioners who want to be effective and who absolutely do want to understand all these relationships, and they're taking responsibility for going back and educating themselves, and I'm so glad that they're finding you.
mhm. Yes, yes, we've been having conversations, and it is wonderful. And it's important for doctors to have the right tools, the right supplements, the right form. We call our products formulas. Okay, because then they can spend their time being doctors, not trying to figure out what company is the best, or going to school to study about these things. I've done that all. I can give them the end result of my 50 years of studying. Here you go, boom, and then they can spend their time being doctors. And so it's a total win-win situation.
Yeah, yeah, and it's what they want, and it's certainly what their patients want, and that's the thing that everybody's in it, for, is to get to people to a healthy, balanced position.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know in the beginning, uh, there was a naturopath who used our products, and it was before we had the whole line where we cover the waterfront. We've got every nutrient covered with, highly absorbed, food based, et cetera, picometer minerals. And so she had our first line, the total body reset. That would be Remag, Remite, Realign, the restructure protein powder, and RNA reset drops. And after a while, her office manager didn't want to carry the supplements anymore because people weren't buying the other supplements that they sold, and their income depended on selling supplements.
Yeah,
So we've got a situation where um, natural medical practitioners have been told that to use supplements like doctors are told to use drugs. If you have symptoms, use this drug. And in the supplement world, you see the websites with 100 different supplements. So they have to tell you, well, if you have this symptom, take this supplement. And it does cause problems. I talked to one gentleman this week, and I don't have clients, but he's an old timey client, and And every couple of years, he asked me a question. He had a calcium scan for his heart, and he had a just slight elevation of his calcium in the calcium heart scan. And what did they, I mean, they did tell him, oh, eat better and do this and do that, but they offered him a statin drug. He had nothing but a little speck of calcium in an artery. So they have nothing to offer, but they'll offer what, what will give him side effects. So I looked over his supplements, and he's pretty much on all mine, but he was also taking green tea capsules. He was taking turmeric, and I said that one was okay. And he was taking a pill form of magnesium as well as Remag. He was taking selenium. He didn't need that because he has it in Remite. He was taking a vitamin E, and he doesn't need that because it's in our omega-3 algae. He wasn't taking enough vitamin D, so I told him to just take the D3 K2. He was taking flaxseed oil and an omega fish oil, so he didn't need that on top of his omega-3 fatty acids. He was taking a zinc, and he didn't need that because he's on Remite. And he was taking a niacin in an extended release form, which I thought was banned because that had proven to be irritating for the liver. So I told him to take that. He was taking a vitamin E, which he didn't need to because he's on our omega-3A plus E. So here he was on like a dozen different supplements that he doesn't need. You get kind of brainwashed if you read health literature and get told, oh, take this and that. He wasn't aware that he was taking most of these, almost all these things already in our products. So I thought that was quite interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Live and learn. And, every once in a while when I have direct contact like that, I learn stuff. He had this scan. Let me tell you this. His scan was a Cleary, CLEERLY, Clearly scan. In 2010, he got it. It was $5,000 to do a CT scan of his coronary arteries. And he's had it every 5 years. And this is what, executives get pulled into. Oh, you have to do this, and then you'll be healthier if you know what's wrong with you. But no, because they tell you to take a statin drug. They didn't tell him to take more magnesium or get off all these extra things that he doesn't need. They didn't tell him that his minor bit of plaque was only a tiny fraction of it was calcium. The rest was just some natural cholesterol. But now he thinks he's got to avoid eggs and butters and all that. And what happens in the heart too, it seemed, I was going to say the moment your coronary arteries get narrow, but as your coronary arteries get narrow, you develop collateral circulation. Your body's always taking care of itself. So it was a very interesting for me to go over his concerns and also his supplement list. And that's what customer service is trained to do, is to look at people who are taking too many things that give the body too many mixed messages. Too many antioxidants aren't good. The body works on a basis of oxidizing certain chemicals in the body. You have to oxidize them, and then the body takes care of the free radicals that form. But all of a sudden we develop this notion that any free radical is bad and we have to have all these antioxidants, and that's not the case. So in order to sell dietary supplements, they've really taken the information and blown it up. I remember back, in the beginning when I was studying my naturopathic medicine, doing conferences and courses, there would be a new study, usually an animal study, that would show that a certain nutrient was good for this or that. And all of a sudden, a supplement company would make that nutrient and act like it was going to work the same in humans.
Mm.
And then we came up with, these hundreds of supplements that are on the market, and they're being marketed just like drugs. In fact, I watched the industry grow. When I was in med school, there wasn't even a health food store in my city. No health food store. So I watched it grow. Actually, I grew when I got to Toronto and set up my practice after my internship in Toronto. I would refer my patients to the local health food stores, and I made them millionaires because people started taking supplements. But anyway, I digress, but in an interesting way. Right, Ginny?
Always very interesting, Carolyn. You've got a wealth of information and experience, and your perch, your view is unique because you have been fully immersed and totally detached, and that is a very interesting position to be in. And so you've been aware and, like I said, detached from getting too involved, and you didn't get sucked up, just like you didn't get sucked up in the fads, and all those other kinds of things that have taken people down or out, where they've diverted their energy or their interest chasing a fad in order to try to create a result or an outcome. And you've just always stuck with the basics, which is at a cellular level, what does the body require, its own latent intelligence, and what does it need, builds basic building blocks, and you've never wavered from that.
That's me.
Yeah, no wavering. Yay! All right, it's about time for that break, and then we're going to swing into that second hour. And let me just say, in the second hour, we've got a lot of callers waiting. If you want to talk to Dr. Dean tonight, you've got to hit *9 on your keypad, and we ran out of time last time, so we have people who are here in the priority lane, so to speak. But definitely, if you want to talk to Dr. Dean, try to come on early so we can get everybody in. People have a tendency to pile up in that last half hour. We'll be right back, everybody, and then we'll get your phone calls.
Back with Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of The Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order The Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Completement Formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and picometer minerals designed to complete your nutrition, not just supplement it. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Ginny Sanders reporting in for duty to hang out with one of the very best people in the whole wide world. My sincere honor to be buds with Dr. Carolyn Dean. As Dave Neufeld says, I learned so much all the time, and we learned so much from our customers and also our callers who love to call in and talk with Dr. Dean, and we encourage you to do so again this evening. The number 646-558-8657 is the number to our Zoom call, and then you have to do this big, long phone number, 8836953587. And we've never been able to get rid of it, but we will continue to use it until such time as we can have something more simple. But in the meantime, you just have to use your little fingers and dial away. Come on into the call. If once you get in here, *9 on your keypad will raise your hand and let us know you have a question or comment, and we'll put you on with Dr. Dean. Before we do that, Carolyn, I just want to repeat a couple of the comments that came in from last hour on the chat line, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Okay. Now, I must say that Alan, our good Alan, who's always here, was not here, he said, because he was listening quietly, he said. And I said, no, listening quietly, you have to participate. So he is now here in full. So we're glad to have Alan back. Jackie said, Carolyn, Jackie Promort, who does our national sales for working with the doctors. She said, what a great intro. My mom suffered from Alzheimer's for many years before she died. How I wish I would have known about REMAG while she was still alive. And boy, I think about that. I think about my dad all the time. If I would have known what I know now, my dad probably would have died even earlier trying to get away from me, haggling him and hassling him and running around the house with blue bottles.
Oh.
But, you know, it's just incredible the amount of information that we do have at our fingertips right now, and very fortunate. But yes, it does make us think about our loved ones who have passed at some point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very sad. And I mean, there's many topics we can do. Actually, I've done those topics in the Magnesium Miracle book, but as people often point out to me, they can read something, but it does come across when you speak it, and especially in the radio show format, when people feel they can chat in or call in and have a direct communication, because so much of this information is too simple to be believed, and that's our problem. We offer such a simple solution. People just can't believe it until they finally try it for themselves, and then they're amazed and wonder why they didn't try sooner.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
okay. Whenever you get around to it, it's the time for you.
That's
So
right.
no
That's
chastisement here.
That's right. That's right. Lillian wrote in, Carolyn, and said, I'm wondering if Dr. Dean recommends the vaccine.
Well, I can only say personally, I don't take any vaccines. And, with COVID, I had the infection early on. So I have natural immunity. So that's a double for me. I don't do vaccines. Plus I had the COVID and I survived. So I'm good.
Yes, very good. Absolutely. Very good. And then Liberty Ninja typed in and said, I just caught the end of the last hour. Looking forward to the second hour. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. And we are. So thank you very much. And we'll leave it at that. Now, who wants to talk with Dr. Dean is what I'd like to know. *9 on your keypad to those who are waiting, and come on with your questions or comments. And I don't know where there were callers here and then they disappeared. I don't know where they went. So you'll have to come back.
They went to get their water. Is it *9 or *6? How many stars do we have?
We have a lot of stars. We have *9 to raise your hand. And then when we actually call on you according to your area code, then you have to hit *6 to actually come off mute and then start chitty chatting. So it's a whole big starry night. Yes. So *9 on your keypad to talk to Dr. Dean. And right now, nobody's hands are waving, Carolyn. So we will press on.
I can press on. I have so many words to say. So this is, I don't know if you saw this. Yes, you must have. This testimonial came with pictures. I don't know if we'll put them up in any way in educating people, but this woman whose name is Cheryl, she said, I've suffered with bad varicose veins and bad circulation for at least 36 years since the birth of my second son. They thought it was a blood clot, but it wasn't. After a plane trip to Germany, her leg cramps got worse and she began to have open ulcers on her legs. This is, where the veins, they lose their valves and the blood just sort of collects. And then without the movement of the blood, if you bump your leg, or usually it's around the ankle, then it can start ulcerating. It's really terrible. So the doctors really couldn't do anything with these ulcers. Then she heard about a procedure called vein ablations, and that's where they cut the veins out of your legs. So she had that done, and then and she was only 46 years old. No, I apologize. She moved to Florida because her husband, who was only 46 years old, had died. And so she had more and more ablations. She could never wear a dress. She was always self-conscious of a black leg from, in the pictures, it looks like mid-calf down over her ankle. Then she said, I read your book, Magnesium Miracle, decided to invest in a bottle of Remag and start taking it. And it really helped with the leg cramps and gave me a good night's sleep. I've been taking Remag and Remite for about a year and a half now, also Realign. Then Pico Silver about 6 months ago. I had a tiny ulcer that got bigger and I was worried, but read that your Pico Zinc helped heal wounds. So I ordered some. As she said, for the past 20 years, my leg was black and embedded with old scars, but suddenly started to transform. Every day I was shedding old skin layers. It seemed new skin was coming behind it. It looked better and better. And there's something else she mentions, but I'll skip over that. So she said, you can see in the pictures the transformation. I'm not so self-conscious as I was before, and that Pico Zinc is pretty amazing. I've listened to your podcast, read your website, and it says to report good results. So here it is. Sorry, this is such a book. Isn't that amazing? I mean, who knew? But she took the plunge and decided to use the Pico Zinc and probably because Cheryl was already on Remag, Remite, and Realign, that set her up for a good healing. So that's just wonderful. Thank you, Cheryl.
Well, you have to see the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she sent the pictures. We get a lot of testimonials, and I appreciate everybody's. But we don't get a lot of pictures. These pictures are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I was talking to Brian when the email came through, and I was like, whatever we are doing must be stopped immediately. And we have to look at these pictures because her leg, you guys, was black.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Her leg was black.
Mm-hmm.
Her ankle, her whole leg was black. I mean, I'm talking 4 or 5 inch. I'm talking significantly deeply black.
Mm-hmm.
And if that would have been on my body, I would have been freaking out. But she's gotten used to it. And then to think that she, like Carolyn said, she had the building block, the foundation in her body through the mineralization. And then she adds that zinc and bada boom, bada bing. And her skin is completely new. New. I mean, it went away halfway, and then now it's completely new. I was just like, holy cow.
Holy cow. Yes, I would have added Pico Silver, of course, and been spraying Pico Silver on it. But the Pico Zinc and what else, the others that she was taking was perfect for her. A friend here on the island, he fell backwards on some volcanic rock and sort of pierced several holes in not through his scalp bone, but, his skin, big bleed, big wounds. Went in, had x-ray, make sure he didn't have a subdural hematoma, was stitched up. And I told him to spray Pico Silver on it. And he's on all the remedies and loves the silver. And I saw him a day and a half later, and it was seriously healed. When he went in 2 days after he had it stitched up and emerged to see his regular doctor, she said, well, this couldn't have occurred 2 days ago. It looks a week old. Same thing when he then had to go to the mainland. He probably shouldn't have traveled because he's, just had this huge head injury, but he felt he could. And he went to get his stitches out because they were pulling. And she said, well, this is not just a week old. This looks to be about 2 weeks old. So the Pico Silver is another healer. Look at this. Julie sent this to me. I don't know if you've seen this, Ginny, but she said, my grandson, who's 14, had warts on his knees and fingers. He had them burned off, but they grew back. He takes the formulas and also 1 to 2 teaspoons of the silver several times a week. We were swimming yesterday, and I said, how are your warts doing? And they're completely gone. There are no scars, they just reabsorbed and repaired as if nothing ever was there. RNA reset magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pico silver is really something else. I have many uses, much respect for Pico silver, for sure. Yeah.
Rose says, my mother was another great testimonial using the Remag for the past 5 years. She had severe spasms for over 10 years and has been at every doctor and clinic trying to figure out a solution with none. Then we sent her Remag and her spasms finally dissipated and she finally experienced relief. We love Remag. From Jean, thank you, Dr. Dean. I suffer with chronic pain and your products are helping me counter some of the drugs I take. I came across your magnesium book by accident, ? I don't think so. Spirit was guiding me. I feel that you are an earth angel along with all the people you work with. There are not enough words to thank you all. Sending my love and thanksgiving for myself and all of the people that have discovered your products. That's so wonderful. Tara says, I always get wonderful results from your company. I'm very pleased with all your products. Dr. Dean is amazingly helpful and so available to everyone. So happy I found you all. Another short one. Elma says, I'm very happy with the products of Dr. Carolyn Dean. It helps me a lot regarding my health and my family too. What's this one? Oh, someone also named Carolyn. I recently purchased your product Remag. I've suffered off and on with anxiety since childhood. I've thought over the years that a healthy diet would cure my anxiety. I have also used the product Calm. That's natural calm. And I actually consulted with them for years. And then, years later, they were bought by Clorox and they changed all their formulas. But anyway, I have also used the product Calm and have taken homeopathic remedies for her anxiety. But I noticed I was having more frequent outbreaks of anxiety more recently. I read Dr. Dean's book, so I decided to try Remag. In a matter of days, I felt a total difference. In fact, I must admit that I haven't really felt this good for this length of time ever. I am grateful that this product exists, but most importantly, I'm grateful for Dr. Dean's research on magnesium deficiencies. Wow, not awesome? Awesome.
That is totally beautiful. Totally beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, what people go through, they, yeah, and they shouldn't have to. This information is available and out there. And it's up to all of us to tell everybody we know about these remedies because as I said at the outset, the younger doctors just don't know anything. But we do have a physician's assistant. I think they're going to start calling them physician's associates because these people, they tend to be more open-minded, I think, than medical doctors. But anyway, this young man, he got interested in my products and read all about them and then thought about going into physician assistant training, and he did, and he just graduated. He sent me a picture of his new office. He's working with a alternative medicine doctor, and he's going to incorporate our products into his practice. Isn't that sweet?
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. It's happening. It happens, and not fast enough for all of us because we just want to see the world saturated with magnesium and let's get on with life. But definitely it's happening. Wonderful, Carolyn. All the things that you inspire. All right. Tonight, 646-558-8657 is the number. 8836953587 is the access number. It's on your computer screen and also on YouTube and in our emails. And if you'd like to talk to Dr. Dean tonight, hit *9 and raise your hand. Come on into the call and we will put you on with her. Now, I don't have any raised hands right now. So if you're raising your hand, you're not doing it properly. *9 will raise your hand and bring you into the call. Patrick, our most precious Patrick, who's on the radio show with us every Monday night, said he submitted his REMAG survey, and he is also making suggestions about the kind of bundles we should have, which I think is wonderful. I want to let our audience know that what we're doing is we are taking a prototype REMAG lotion and we're putting it out to a handful of our regular customers who raised their hands and said they wanted to participate. And we are asking them to evaluate it before we release it in its final form. It is around, so don't panic. We're very, very close. We just know that once we finish it, we want it to be finished perfectly for Dr. Dean. So we're getting that feedback and just confirming that we're on the right track, or if we're not on the right track, we still have time to switch things out before we pull the lever and pop out 100,000 bottles of REMAG lotion. So hang in there. It's on its way though. And Patrick, and thank those who are, and if you wonder if you're a person who was solicited for that contribution, look your email, please. If you're on the radio show and you signed up for it, you should know that that email has been sent to you. They went out today. So please take a look in your email and respond quickly and appropriately so we can press on with our important process.
And people on the show, if they want to sample the new REMAG lotion, can they do that, Ginny, since you've teased them?
Well, we've been talking about it for weeks, and the people on the show who wanted to have already sent their email to Lisa, hopefully. So yes, we're already in that process of, we've gathered a bunch of names and they're top of the list.
That's right. Very good.
They are top of the list.
Right. So if we don't have callers, I've raced through my testimonials, but I'm going to go to Amazon and look at the Magnesium Miracle book, because there's often good testimonials there, and even we can look at the REMAG and look at testimonials. But I didn't realize, look, my the Magnesium Miracle is only $10.86.
They discounted it.
They did. It used to be $20. So I mean, that $10, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is a very good price for that book. What is it saying?
Well, what it's saying to me is I still get my 50 cents a book.
Yes, exactly. They didn't cut your pay all big whopping 56, or what is it, 56 cents, or seriously?
Yeah, that's all. And Kindle is only $8.99, and I love reading everything on Kindle. But in the whatever testimonials, I mean, we've got them from years and years of observations of the book. Frozen shoulder, someone saying that it benefited them. Someone says, if you have any health challenges at all, especially chronic things, magnesium deficiency is a likely aspect of whatever the picture is. Dr. Dean has figured out really important information, a product line to reset your mineral levels. That's very sweet. And there's a lot of good words here. And, what's going to happen, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, Amazon's not going to be able to have testimonials. So that's going to make it even harder for people to get health information. Look at this one. This person says, give magnesium to your irritable relatives and make them and you happier. That's kind of cute. Yeah. And someone else, Miracle Medicine. They say full of really helpful information. I got it originally to cure my migraines, which I have suffered from since I was a teenager. I've tried everything from acupuncture to Botox with little success. So many things have improved since upping my intake of magnesium, and even my menopausal sweats and flushes have all stopped. I also sleep right through the night now and feel so much better.
Mm.
So, yes, in my opinion, magnesium is the miracle answer to an awful lot of health issues. So, yeah, people find out. They do.
It's so
Brilliant.
funny
Yeah.
how much people object to the word miracle. As a matter of fact, I even got something today from the FDA compliance team in the Philippines saying, you must remove the word miracle from your bottle. I mean, what is wrong with people?
Oh, yeah. Wow. They're dumbing everything down to such an extent that people give up, but not us. We will never give up.
No.
And someone says, brilliant book. Everyone should read this. Much misery could be avoided with this knowledge. It should be a mandatory read for all doctors. There's an epidemic of misdiagnosis going on. True. Another one, such amazing insights into the benefits of simple magnesium. I have noticed several improvements in areas such as constipation, fatigue. My urine smells normal again. Particular thanks to Carolyn for producing the form that is kind to the stomach. Another absolutely brilliant book. Brilliant book. It has a wealth of information and is superbly readable. The message is clearly communicated for either a layman or a professional and is amply backed up with references for anyone to investigate further. A very valuable source for anyone who wants to take care of their health. Awesome. Yeah, very good. And no calls, no chats.
Let's see where we're at. Hello to all the callers of the world. *9 on your keypad to let me know you've got a question or comment. Patrick said, I suggested to make a bundle with all the products except maybe optional Pico Zinc and Recalcia because I believe we need to take all of the nutrients anyway. So we should be taking them all every day.
Oh, Patrick, what a sweetheart. Oh, yeah. And that's what we do think that. And the people that do take everything, they just do so much better. My only complaint is it feeds me all the nutrients and I don't need to eat as much because I get all my nutrients in my supplements. So it's a strange transition that I'm going through right now. I wonder if other people on the chat feel that they don't have to eat as much. They feel satisfied with the nutrients. Yes. Actually, if we have some time, let's start asking, get some interaction with the chat group and find out stuff, Ginny. Let's interrogate them.
Very good. Well, the first question Dr. Dean is asking is, how are you doing with your appetite and do you feel the need to eat as much? Because technically, as we've learned before from Dr. Dean, all of your food is broken down into electrons. And so you're basically eating electrons. And then if you're getting all your minerals, the minerals are so important in transporting electrons through mitochondria and the body that technically you would not necessarily have those cravings or that hunger. So let's see if that's working out. Charisse typed in Carolyn in a separate and unrelated comment and said, was there something about Remag and green tea? I'm not sure if it's a real memory, but I thought Dr. Dean said something about it in the past.
I don't think so. I mean, I mentioned green tea because my client was taking it as an antioxidant and I don't think he needed it. But I remember talking about green tea once because someone was taking a lot of it and they started to have symptoms and they had it analyzed and it was filled with some sort of heavy metal. And, from that experience and many others, I began to be very concerned about herbs and herbal formulas that you never knew where they came from unless you knew the company. It was organic and you could look at the certificate of analysis. And also green tea has caffeine, and some people don't do well on caffeine. I'm looking up green tea and caffeine. Some of them are decaf, but the caffeine content what can it be, about 60 milligrams, I think. Whereas a cup of coffee might have 120 milligrams. So there.
Again, if you're on the line to talk to Dr. Dean, you've got to hit.
Over to you, Jenny.
Oh,
over to you,
yep.
Jenny.
I'm here. Can
Jenny.
you hear me?
Jenny.
Can you hear me?
Uh-oh.
Your volume went down. Did your volume go down?
It did.
Okay.
It did.
You got
Don't know why.
Bam,
Yep.
bam.
Bam, bam.
It said, newer television in response to your informal survey, Carolyn said, I found I just can't eat as much as I did before starting Dr. Dean supplements, no matter how hard I try. That's right. Keep trying. Very good. Okay, let's come up with 703 is wanting to talk. Very good. You've got to hit *6 on your phone, *6 to unmute your phone. There you go. Come on into the call.
Hi, Dr. Dean. Hi, Jenny. How are you guys? This is Lillian from Virginia.
Oh, hi, Lillian. Welcome.
Yeah, I called and talked to you a couple of months ago, and it was about my grandma. And my grandma was 106 years old, and she suffered from Alzheimer's for many, many years. But I tried to give her magnesium, but this is before you created the powder, and she would say, something's wrong with this water. Something's wrong with this juice.
Yeah, right.
So I couldn't get her to drink it because she just, I guess, very sharp on her taste buds. But anyway, yes, and I love your products. I've been using them for many, many years now, and I try my best to mail them to family and friends. But sometimes I just feel like you have to sort of feed them the magnesium and stuff. And even though you share all the great benefits, I don't know. I think people are so used to taking a pill, and so they they think it's a little bit too much work to be doing this, but I try. I just want you to know, still trying.
Of course. Well, Lillian, when we get the Remag lotion sorted out, I think we'll do some promotions on it for people to use it as a gift. Because we've had many people tell us, well, once I got, my mother or grandmother on the Remag lotion just as a body cream, they started seeing the difference. And that's kind of the gateway for them to get involved with taking more formulas. But the Remag lotion can be very helpful. So that's what we'll do. Right, Jenny?
That's exactly right. We will do that 100%.
So did you have questions? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I do. So since I've been on all of your products, I have, felt my healthiest, and even through the whole COVID, I have not, gotten it, and I've tested it and I've been negative, but I'm just a little concerned about the Delta variant that's coming on, and so that's why my question on the chat was I was just wondering whether, when it would be time to take the vaccination, if ever. And prior to just the regular COVID virus, I was totally 100%, on my vitamin D, my zinc, my magnesium, all the other stuff, and doing the washing of the hands, wearing the mask, all that stuff. But now I kind of just feel like with the COVID, with the Delta one, whether it's time to think about either strengthening more of the formulas, taking more dosages and stuff like that, or maybe just getting the vaccination. And
okay, so that's a big question, and we don't know. We really don't know much about the Delta variant. It's interesting. The information about it is being really promoted at a time when the government wants everybody vaccinated. And unfortunately, we're seeing supposedly people developing COVID who've been vaccinated, thousands of people. And they say, oh, that's not too many. And the information, there's not enough factual information that a person can trust to make a decision. And unless you are 100% clear on what's going to happen, and I say, unless you can have the doctor or the Walmart employee sign an affidavit saying that they'll pay the $1 million that it'll take to care for you if you have side effects, because nobody's going to take care of the side effects. The drug companies are immune to lawsuits. So what we're going to hear in the next year is all the insurance claims for people who've had side effects. And my concern is the people who are supposedly having breakthrough COVID, that it's just a side effect of the vaccine, and they're calling it breakthrough COVID. Delta variant, every virus ever is constantly shifting. They're always mutating. So Delta is one of the 100 different variants that they'll throw at us before too long. So it's I don't trust anybody anymore.
Okay.
But in terms of to trust yourself, and you've already had such a good run, and you're thinking, well, maybe I'll just take more. Maybe you don't need to take more, but if it makes you feel like, well, at least I'm doing something extra, then do what makes you feel comfortable and healthy and happy with something do something that makes you feel healthy and happy with something that has no side effects.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the exercising, reducing the stress, drinking my water, sleeping, all those, other things that I can think of that I have control over, but not the vaccinations. And like I said, I've been trying my best to, not think about the Delta one.
You can't listen. Don't listen to the news. Just don't listen to the news. Don't read things. If your mind is being affected, and I can hear it in your voice, that you're starting to doubt yourself because, they've got this big push. They want everybody to get vaccinated, even though more than a third of the population is already vaccinated, and more than a third yes, probably more than a third has had the infection, so they have natural immunity. We have reached the point where everybody is covered. So, for them to push the problems with Delta variant and tell you that kids are in danger now, they have no reference for that. There's no research for that. And we know how much everybody flip-flopped in the beginning with all that they said. I mean, I don't know how much more I can talk about this before I get canceled, but
okay.
You have
I don't want
to trust.
No. I do. I've been praying about it, to do it or not do it, but so far I haven't got the calling or the urge to do it, so I haven't signed up for anything. And like I said, I've just been believing in good health, and I'm not a anti-vaxxer, but I'm also not a person that takes medication. So I haven't taken anything since 2007, and I kind of want to keep that streak going because I do believe the body does heal itself and does what it needs to do. So Thank you,
Mhm.
Dr. Dean. I just needed, I guess, some more reassurances and talking to you that I'm in the right direction, because a lot of people are not into the health of the body. So
All right.
usually it's just take the pill fast and be done with whatever it is. And so thank you.
Okay. Yes, and I can't really give you a definitive. I can just say that I would never take it, and I would never be fearful of a virus when my body is a temple, and I'm treating it like a temple, and it will, deflect anything that I don't want it to have. I got
You're
I got
absolutely
the
right.
I got the COVID in the beginning because I wanted to experience it and have my natural immunity. So boom, done. You know how
Okay,
Ginny,
got it.
says Carolyn always tries everything, and uh, when I was in practice up in Toronto, when a flu or cold strain would come through, I would homeopathically what there's a word for it, but uh, we would decide by the symptoms what remedy was needed, and I'd make up the remedy. I had a homeopathic remedy machine, and we would use that remedy through this flu season, and it worked. I mean, there are so many
Mm,
things that we could be doing for this, and
mhm.
we should have done. Doctors getting together on nationally and talking about what was working for their patients. We didn't do any of that. We just stood back and let the bureaucrats and the politicians tell us what to do.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's just made
It's led
money
us to
for,
where we are.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
just made a lot of money for people who don't deserve it. So enough
Okay,
said.
well, I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm going to keep going, moving forward, pressing on, and continuing with all the products because I have nothing but great health. So thank you.
Exactly. Okay, Lillian. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yep. Very good. I think that was very, very good, perfectly and eloquently spoken. And, every day they're starting to have to publish now all their recanting statements. Like now they're not recommending it for kids under 30 because of all the problems with the heart inflammation and everything.
Mm.
So how can I mean, I couldn't do it either, take this vaccine, but they don't know what it is.
No,
And it's
no.
embarrassing
Hmm.
that they're insisting so many people
Hmm.
be subject to this thing when they don't know what it is. They
Right.
don't know what their other stuff is. Like for an example, um, the uh, the other day, um, we had somebody call us and tell us that they had just gotten back from the doctor and they had gotten their prescription of Cipro for the most mild infection that didn't even really require that. And I just went off. I was like, throw that stuff in the garbage right now. You call your doctor and tell them that there is a black label warning from the FDA against this stuff. It shreds your body from the inside out, and you want a different prescription. And when they called the doctor's like, it does?
Mm.
I didn't know anything about that. They
Yeah.
they don't even know what they're doing with the things that they know what it's doing, much let alone doing something with what they don't know is doing what is doing. It's
Hmm.
incredible.
Bob's yelling out something. If you want to be on the,
Too busy Googling.
Bob said they're too busy
Yeah,
Googling.
yeah, yeah. It's incredible. It really is. So, yes, good words and good wisdom. I think that's very good. And you've never been a fan of vaccinations. You've always been able to come up with a homeopathy or something like that as an anecdote if you had to have one when you were traveling or whatever. And you've given that advice for many years on the show. And I just feel that it would be, ridiculous to start now. Who would do even do
Ginny,
that? Bob.
Carolyn's always used me for the last 50 years as her guinea pig. I'm the first to try everything.
That's hilarious, Bob. Have you
Oh.
had the vaccine, Bob? No, I'm just kidding. That's so funny.
Well, when I was studying acupuncture, Bob would just sort of lie back and I'd be poking every part of his body with needles. And he just, oh, this is fun. He was the perfect patient.
That's so great. That's so
Yeah.
great. Yes. So that's what the question is not, Carolyn, what to do. It says, has Bob had the vaccine yet? Then we'll know.
Right.
Then we'll know what's up. All right.
Well, yeah, Bob, I realized I'm giving him 6 teaspoons of pico silver today. I mean, every day, 6 teaspoons of pico silver, because I'm still thinking of when Carol Baggerly was on and said it was important for the prostate. And so high doses of vitamin D and pico silver. So we have to do our blood test, Bob, to see where our vitamin D is. Because I think the pico silver, because it stimulates stem cell production in the bone marrow, I think it's good for tissues, throughout the body. I think it enhances tissues. And I think vitamin D is similar in some respects. So I'm going to see if taking the extra pico silver and the extra vitamin D gives you a higher level of vitamin D in the blood. Anyway, this is me experimenting on Bob. That's what I'm trying to say.
Nice. Very good. Very good. Excellent. The pico silver also has got a high level. I remember reading about that, of the conductivity. I mean, silver is definitely a conductor of energy, and we do need as much as we can have. So that's awesome too.
Yeah. We keep getting these reports. So we've got 13 minutes left or 12 minutes left. Will I go back to Amazon?
Let me just give you a couple updates on your quiz. Newark Television said, I found I just can't eat as much as I did before. Oh, we talked that. Then eMusic said, I'm eating the same, if not a little more. So good. And then Ellen Batten typed in, is refrigeration necessary for REMAG?
No, not at all. It's a mineral, so it's very stable. It's around, it lasts for years. We do have to put a 2-year date on it according to the FDA. Very stable.
Yeah, very stable. No refrigeration required. But if you do throw them in the refrigerator, that's also fine as well. Yep.
But see, if you put them in the refrigerator, you forget about them. Put them where your eyes see them, so you don't forget them.
Yes, I put mine in the shelf in the refrigerator because I open it every morning to get my coffee. I could never forget anything in my refrigerator. But yes, I know you've got to put it up. You've got to put them where you remember to take them. Until it's ingrained in your being, and then every time you drink a sip of water that doesn't have minerals in it, you think it tastes like something out of a creek or something. It's terrible.
I know. Plain water without the sea salt is so bland. I just spit it out. But I think I told people one week what I do with my minerals. I make up an 8-ounce bottle with all my minerals for the week. So I just do the measurements. Like if I take a teaspoon a day of REMAG, then that'll be 7 teaspoons of REMAG, and build up the teaspoons in a measuring cup and then pour them into a bottle. So then every morning I'll just put as many teaspoons as I take for all the minerals, and they're all mixed up together. So I get a nice balance. Does that make any sense at all? Didn't make any sense to me when I said it.
No, it made perfect sense.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, perfect sense.
So, when I think an earlier caller said something about it's too much work for people, but you can create ways of sort of being more efficient with it all. I have little tiny vitamin bags, and I'll work up a week's worth of all my vitamins. Just open all the bottles and put the vitamins out on each bag, and then stuff the vitamins in the bag. So then I just grab a bag, put my, whatever, 8 teaspoons of all my minerals in my sea salted and vitamin C berry water, and that I drink through the day, and I'll swallow my pills and capsules with that water.
Yeah, very good. Everybody should do what you do because you look fantastic. You've got incredible energy and you're knocking it out of the park. So I say whatever you're doing, have some of what Dr. Dean's up to, seriously. I want to say Carolyn Lorraine Andrus up in Kelowna, BC, our very wonderful distributor up there, True Health Canada. That's reset at truehealthcanada.ca, is typing in saying, I'm having a blast listening from up here in Canada, catching the last few tidbits to end the day. I heard it was very hot up there, Lorraine. And also she says, thank you so much, Carolyn and Ginny. But let me just say this really quick. And this is for the archive and for all of our Canadian listeners. Canada is doing something fun, you guys. And the fun thing that they're doing is they're now making a CCP. Can you believe they're even calling it that? A CCP portal for everybody in Canada to prepay all your duties and your taxes on all incoming products from the US. And if you have a regular relationship with any distributor in the United States where you're used to getting any kind of products, you have to go on a portal and register it and give your money in advance. They'll no longer be collecting it at the border or at your front door. They're getting pretty aggressive about this whole situation. So Lorraine in Canada, getting your minerals from Lorraine is going to be more important than ever before, because you are really not going to want to have to go through this regulatory BS and also having to put all the cash out before you even get your products. They want their money before you get your stuff.
Oh my gosh. And
yeah.
And then, who's to say if your shipment doesn't go through, who's liable for that?
Exactly. So make sure that you're on Lorraine's website, that you're on her registration. We're going to continue to support her in getting all of our customers corralled up there. Right now, she is just handling the remag, but we are very busily getting the applications in for the other products. It's all moving forward. And definitely pay attention to this new thing about the CBSA Assessment and Revenue Management Program from Canada, where the CCP will allow residents to self-serve and manage your customs transactions directly with the Canadian government.
Wow. And we know what CCP stands for, Chinese Communist Party, for Pete's sakes.
I mean, it's pretty crazy. They just want their money and they are out there 100%. So let me also just say, we've got a caller holding, so let's get to that before we wrap up the show. And here in just a few minutes, from area code 806, if you could hit *6 on your phone and unmute area code 806. There you are. Go ahead, love.
Hi, this is Gwen in Lubbock, Texas, and I always listen on Monday and look forward to it. 2 questions. Is there any sequencing when you take your products? Like I do the Remite and Remag and potassium together in the vitamin C. I take the zinc separately, but timing on Flora Revive or Realign or your RNA reset and is number 1. And then number 2, are there any contraindications on any food that makes things more difficult to assimilate?
Right. Okay, Gwen. I think you can take all the products at any time, except maybe the Flora Revive could be taken first thing in the morning and last thing at night, because it is working on your intestines. So you want it to get down there without being mixed up with foods and other supplements. But that is not even a requirement. I don't do that anymore. But that would be the only timing issue. Otherwise, I mean, it's like you're eating food and you're taking these formulas as foods that you can eat with or without your food. And contraindications of any food, I mean, you know what that would be. It's just, watch out for sugar, and that's the main thing, I think. Some people have problem with gluten, some people have problems with dairy, and you experiment with how they are in your system. But I try to make it very simple, because a lot of the food and dietary restrictions people created because they didn't have enough nutrients to digest their food. You know, that's our finding. Our people don't seem to have the allergies that they used to. So how does that sound?
That sounds great. One of the things that I try and do is stay gluten and dairy free. Is that, do you have any strong feelings about certain foods that you have found over the years that, with glyphosate and all of those type things, that it's better to steer clear from?
Well, yeah, I do try to stay organic. I've gotten less fanatic since I've been doing all my products. I find I'm not bothered. For example, I used to, get too mucusy with dairy, and now I eat dairy every day. But every once in a while, I'll go on a couple-day fast and not have anything, and then sort of clear up. And I find, because I take my Flora Revive every day, I don't mind if I have a little extra yeast. The gluten, I developed this habit of just not eating bread, so I stay away from it. But if I have bread, I'll just have maybe a piece every 3 or 4 days. So it's just not having something every day can be all you need to do for your body to metabolize away those proteins, because there are proteins in gluten and in casein that we started to be concerned about in the ADHD and autistic population. So that opened our eyes to the problems of digesting those foods, and the fact of the way we farm the grains, and we put all kinds of chemicals in our dairy. Those are probably affecting us as well.
Right. And do these minerals help youngsters on the ASD, on the autism spectrum that
Absolutely.
you have found? Or
oh yeah, absolutely. Number one,
okay. I'm
yeah.
Sorry, Carolyn. I'm sorry, we've got a break. But yes, and absolutely, and we can cover that next week.
Right,
wait a minute.
Would be very helpful.
A good. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank
Gwen.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
Gwen.
everybody. Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Blessings.
Yes.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe.